In this video, we are going to enqueue or register our assets, and I'm your host Ikramul Haq. Now let's jump into the development. All right, this is our HTML. So I have already opened this inside a folder. So from here, I will be copying both of the folders CSS and JS, and I will be going inside my plugin folder. Here is my main plugin file. Here I will be creating my assets folder, so I can say it's something like assets, and inside it I'll be placing both of the folders. All right, and now if I just go back to my editor, I'll be seeing all the assets. All right, yes, main.js is empty as we don't have anything. All right, so we have simply copied our assets or static files inside our plugin folder, and now it's time to implement or register those styles and JS inside our plugin. How to do that? That's the main thing. All right, so I am going to create another folder. So I can simply say that folder like includes. Most of the times we keep our classes inside includes. So inside includes, I'll be creating a file, PHP file for my assets class, and I will be saving it. So how we save classes with the class as prefix and name of it .php. So my file name right now is class dash assets.php. All right. First things first, we have to be certain that whenever someone accesses our main file, it's not accessible and we are exiting. All right, and then what we will be doing, we will be creating a class, and that's how we do. So ca underscore blog is some sort of our prefix, and we can say it like assets. All right, now what we are going to do, we have to first create few methods. As I will be following singleton pattern, so I can create a private function construct. All right, and this will be main hook of our class. From hook I mean all our hooks will be going inside this main class. So what it does, we will be using few WordPress actions to register our assets properly. So first of enqueue, so UEUE. So first one is scripts. All right, so we can call name of the function which we will be using as callback, something like simple one, enqueue styles. All right, so what it will be doing, it will be doing, we are whenever our instance is created, we our wp enqueue scripts function or action will be run, and once it runs, our callback function which is here, that will be executed. I will be coming to it uh, bit shortly. I think I can simply move towards its creation. Function enqueue scripts. All right, so something like this. Okay, it was enqueue styles, so I can call it. Now I think it's clear. This is our main construct, and inside it we are having our enqueue scripts action, and whenever this runs, our callback function runs, which is here. And here we will be actually enqueuing our assets. The best practice is always to register our assets and use when needed. When needed or required to keep our performance fast. But here we'll be simply adding our assets because it's only for our learning curve. All right, so how we enqueue a css file? So for that we simply use wp enqueue style, yes, style function, and here we provide name of the file which we want to use. So I think it's, so we can use something like this. Why I am utilizing or using plugins first? Because in plugin there are our bootstrap or other files, so that's the main files which we always execute or enqueue at the first go. So our other files are dependent on those files. All right. So I can simply go like this. Now to provide path of the files, like our files are residing inside assets folder, rather than calling plugins path URI, directory URI, I will be simply using constant. All right. So first of all, the name of the item which we want to keep, and then we will be using path. So now this will be coming giving us plugins path to our main plugin, which is ca-blog-ajax-plugin folder, and then comes our next thing, which is assets folder, and inside our assets folder we have css folder, and finally we have name of our file, which is plugins dot css. All right. So next comes any dependency. uh, right now we don't have any, and then comes the version number. So instead of passing that statically, we can simply use this one. I hope you got the idea why we created these constants in the first go. All right. So now if I simply go to my website, uh, like if I just go to any of the post, because our assets are enqueue, or right, it will not be working yet. Why it will not be working? Because we have simply created our class, but we have not created any instance of it. All right. So for that, I think rather than going this way, I can simply create a instance. First of all, I can just create instance property and or set it to null. All right. Then we can simply create our static method, name it like get instance. So here we can actually check if our instance is set. If is our instance is not set, then we can simply create an instance. And from where? Exactly from our class, like this. All right. Now whenever we have to create instance, obviously we are using singleton pattern, so we can call this method, and it will be checking if our instance is not created, it will be creating the instance, and if it's already there, we will be getting the one we have. All right. So simply we can return our instance. Done. Perfect. All right. So we have covered to create our instance thing, and now how to create object or how to get instance of this class. For that, we can simply include our class here in our main plugin. Exactly, like I can say include required classes are files. So here we can require our files, so we can use require once. So path of our ca, exactly, so we can create this very constant. It will be giving us absolute path, and then we can come inside it, and under includes folder we have our class assets dash php. What we are doing, we have created a folder inside includes and named it as class-assets.php, and here in our main plugin file we are requiring that file because it is our main file for the assets. So once it's required, next step is we have to create or get instance of this class which we just created here. All right, so how to do that? Rather than doing it once, we can also create one more file, more class or method here. Classes are class, so we can say we can create a class actually. So this ca underscore block is our prefix, and we can say something like this. All right, and in this very same way we can create our another instance like we created just here. I am simply copying it rather than writing it again. All right, so it is our singleton pattern. So instead of creating it each time, we can simply check and fetch the instance. All right, and now we can create one more method here which can be our construct, and inside it we can create any of the instances for any of our classes. Like for this one I can simply say something like initialize assets class. So how to do that? We have to simply check our class name, and then we can simply call our static function which is get instance. Alright, now if I just go back to my plugin, and if everything is alright, we didn't make any mistake, it should be working. Why it is taking so long? I think nothing is wrong. Okay, something is not good. Let me reload it to see what's going on. In the meantime, we can quickly recheck our. Okay, that's how we actually debug. We have created our main class to, yes, to start our plugin, but we never started it. So we have to call its instance as well. Like we have to call its method, and now we are ready to proceed. And one last time, if I refresh, our plugin should be all good to go. So now how to check? We have to simply check like this. All right. So what I am checking? I am checking by the ID or name of the file which I have enqueued. So here it is, CA plugin dash CSS. Actually, whenever we enqueue a style, it appends a CSS to it, and if whenever we enqueue a JS file, it appends dash JS to the file ID. All right. So now if I check path of the plugin, it is there, and we are good to go. All right. So that's how we register our files. Perfect. Now instead of creating anything again and again, we have to simply check back our this enqueue, and we can use it for each of our files. Like we are having file 5 files, I can copy it 4 times. All right, why I am doing this? Because now quickly writing, instead of code for each file, I can simply change the ID, name, and obviously the name of the file. All right, if you have any issues, I can simply show you what I did. I am commenting it. So I have created another file with the id of the ca dash color and passed color.css file name. All right, so if I now just refresh, you will be seeing this file will also be inserted in our plugin page. Let me just quickly check this one. So here it is, CA dash color. All right. So now I'll be just uncommenting, and I will be moving to the next file. So what is the name of our next file? Dash is, that is transitions. So I can simply copy it and pass the name of our file like this. All right. Then comes our another file which is main, so I can say it like main, and then finally our responsive, so I can say it like responsive.css. All right, so now all five of our CSS files are enqueued. Perfect. Now we have to enqueue our JS in the very same fashion like we did here. First of all, to enqueue JS, we don't use enqueue. Yes, we will not be using same callback, but we will be using like something this enqueue scripts. Why we have to create another one? Because we want to keep things separate. So whenever we have to reuse it, or whenever we have to make sure our JS goes side by is a separate way than the CSS, not side by side, so we can create a separate method altogether. All right. So what we are saying it, we are simply changing name of our callback. All right. So now we have to create our method public function. So name of our method now is enqueue and here we will be using exactly enqueue, not style but script, because now we are using our script registration process. All right, so the file name for our JS file is main.js, so I can simply say it like ca main, and again we will be using same approach like this, path to the file. Now path to the file is not under CS, it is inside JS, and it is main.js. All right, and then if there is any dependency, there is none of the dependency we are going to use at the moment, and finally we can call it like this. And in JS we can use one more parameter to true. This way whenever we are adding a JS file, it will be added inside a footer, not the header. All right, so you know main JS or any of the JS files we usually keep inside the footer. Okay, so now if I just copy it and refresh my page. All right, now search with the ID of my file. It should be showing like here. All right, so you can see ca-main.js, and here is our file. If I open it in new tab, it will be empty because our file here is empty. All right, so we have added our JS. Let me zoom out a bit. We have added our JS. We have added our CSS files. All right. One more and main thing which is needed to be done is the localization. What is localization? I'll be showing you right now. Okay. So we can say it like localize scripts. So I can create one more method, and we can create it like this. So this is our callback function. Here we will be using WP localize script. What it does, it actually provides us JS. Why JS? Like whenever we are sending any data or information from PHP into our JS files, we use WP localize script. So how it works? We first call the name. We first call function, and then we pass the ID of the file where we want to provide our data. Like in our case, the ID of our JS file where we want to provide our port, that is ca-main. So here it goes. And next comes what we want to say to our data. So I can simply say like AJAX, because we are using it for the AJAX purposes. And then comes the data. So we provide data in key value pair, right? Like this. Okay, so what we pass here? First of all, we will be passing here our AJAX URL. So we can say it like AJAX URL. How we get it in WordPress admin underscore URL, and we pass file name, that is AJAX admin dash ajax.php. Okay, so if we simply use this object, it will be having some data inside our main file. But how to get that data, how to see what our data does, or how to utilize our data, that's the thing. So we have to simply go to our main.js file, and here we can simply call our function. All right, so here if I just alert that the name of my, yes, it will be something like this. All right, so I have to simply just go and check if it works or not. So, it didn't work. So why it didn't work? Oh yes, we have to pass our jQuery to see if that works. All right, so now let me check once again. As it is JS static asset, so I can recheck it like this. Okay, perfect. So why it was not showing earlier? The reason was that static assets are mostly in modern browsers are cached, so that's why I refreshed it in a hard way, and it is showing us all good, perfectly fine now. Okay, so that's the path of our admin Ajax PHP. All right. So this way, whatever we will be sending from here will be available inside our jQuery or our JS file. All right. So far, what we have done, we have created our plugin successfully. We have created our very first class for assets. We have registered our CSS, JS, and we have localized our admin Ajax URL. And we have checked and verified that inside our jQuery. Right, so in the next video we will be moving forward to create our actual short code, where we will be utilizing this HTML, and we will be showing our data from the WordPress posts in a proper short code in a proper way. All right, until then, see you, have a nice time, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.